go by, everybody's in one spot, just like he's talking about. So that's kind of in a lease scenario like we're looking at in Hookset, that is the basic concept right there. And then as the market becomes more and more mature, and you can justify more and more investment into it, you'll see in the bottom, that is a mature site with a full auction building. The one on the right there on the bottom right is looking into the theater from the ramp where the equipment's going across. You kind of see the evolution of the investment that we put into properties over time as the maturity of the market continues. Then with just how we handle certain things, two things that is always something that people are really interested in when we come to a new city or town is both the environmental procedures and the traffic patterns and how that works within the town. And it's something, with both of them, it's something we take really seriously. And with environmental procedures, one of the things is there's a lot of equipment out there, and we want to make sure that, because not only when most of these properties we own, and we also we're invested in the property, we want to make sure we keep it clean and everything environmentally safe. And so when equipment comes into the site, it'll come in and like Steve was saying, they'll take a lot of pictures and they'll do a detailed kind of analysis of the equipment. One of the things is just to make sure that it's not sitting there dripping oil and leaving hydraulic fluid or anything everywhere, because we don't want that to get spilled on the site. No one else does either. So that's one of the things we take really seriously from the very beginning, and if there is a problem, we turn it around before it ever enters the site. So that's one thing we do there. But in the event that something did happen on site and it was spilled, we do have procedures and protocols to take care of that immediately. Everything's on site to take care of that so that doesn't become an issue in the future. And then same, in a lot of our sites we'll do, it's called refurbishing facilities, what we call it, with different variations of it, but it's where we'll take equipment, wash it, power wash it, paint it, that type of thing, just like Steve was saying about trying to get the highest value of a piece of equipment that we can. And it's just a value-added service for the customers. And when you do that, obviously you don't want all the water from washing it. That's another thing that we don't want going into the ground or getting spilled anywhere. And so we'll take a full water recycling system that's a closed-loop system, doesn't discharge anywhere, doesn't impact the city infrastructure, which the particular site we're looking at doesn't have city sewer, but if it did, we wouldn't want to be discharging into that, anything. We just keep it all closed loop and take everything off site, any type of particulates or anything that would come off the machine. So, and that just kind of gives a quick snapshot of how seriously we take environmental protection. And then traffic patterns, really it's a really low impact. There's traffic that comes in with trucks delivering equipment over the 2-week period, but that's spread over days, and it's over 2 to 3 week period, and it's not a crazy amount of trucks. It's really minimal compared to like a major retail center or anything like that. So and as we get closer to the auction day, and it's actually on auction day, all that traffic that typically over the 2 weeks leading up to it was delivery of equipment, it's just substituted by customers that day. And so you'll have passenger vehicles come in, but everything is done completely within the borders of the site so that we don't have truck stacking out on the road. We don't have people parking along the road at the boundary of the property. We want to avoid all that, keep everything within the boundary of the site so that we don't have any type of negative impact within the town. So those are, and we'll use police, or we'll use, and we'll pay for that, or we'll use staff, some of those part-time employees, to help direct traffic and make sure everything's safe, because we want to make sure it all goes smoothly once they're on site. There's not conflicts of pedestrians and equipment and all that, so it's something we take pretty seriously. And then the other thing too is economic impacts, which in New Hampshire, the sales tax, there is none, and so but there is other ways that it's not a direct impact necessarily from Richie Bros all the time from the sale of equipment that helps from an economic standpoint, but there's a lot of economic impacts that are indirect, and that can be hotels, restaurants, and employment. And our three of the main ones that we get the biggest impact from. And hotels, usually what that is people come in check out the equipment before the sale, make sure that they know and they set the price that they think it's worth in their head, that when they come to the auction, that's what they're going to pay. And so they want to come and see everything, and they stay in the hotels. And you'll see in some of the paperwork that you have, people come from around the world. They come in, see it, and they may come in and inspect it and then actually bid on it at auction day. From the internet, they may come in again and do it in person. You know, it's all up to them, but usually a lot of them are going to be at the site and do that. And so that, you know, trickles into the restaurants and everything when those people come in town, and then obviously there's some employment and involved with that too. And as the site matures, the employment base grows, and so there's a lot of positives in that way. And it also, another thing, kind of just a town-wide view, is this is just another form of economic diversity within a town, and so you'll have, it's just another industry. And so if not, I guess all your eggs are in one basket with either hotels or retail or anything like that. It's just it keeps diversity, it keeps the flow of the economic cycle a little bit less severe, just because it adds a little bit of diversity to the town. So that's another positive.
So very good, and kind of adding to what Ben was talking about here, most of you should have received a bidder, what we call a bidder buyer map, similar to what you see here. And I can tell I'm getting older because my eyes can't see this very well. But
no, it's just him. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, it's just just me. But this gives an idea. Pardon me. Kind of the global reach, if you will. And actually, Ben, if you pull that towards me, I'll speak off the screen and I'll give a kind of a thumbnail sketch to kind of give an idea of I guess, the global reach here. Let's take, Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. Now, the example here, top left, is northeast Maryland, and our site that's about 5 or 6 hours south of here. So for example, total registered bidders, bottom right corner there, 1,956 from 42 states, 9 Canadian provinces. And so this gives an idea of where these bidders came from. So when Ben's talking about economic spin-off, or what sometimes we call the halo effect, this is where that shows that. So New Mexico, one person, let's see, British Columbia, where I'm from, 27 active bidders. Alabama 3, Saudi Arabia 5, China 4. And so this kind of gives you an idea. This is a marketing piece that we track where our customers come from. And on the right side is the equipment sold. And so this tells us at the end of the day, where is the equipment going to. So once again, this is all sold at our site in northeast Maryland, which is actually the name of the town. It's actually in the northeast corner as well. And so once again, let's see British Columbia, for example. Of those 27 people that are on the left that came and bid, either online or on site, only one was successful, at $205,000. And other bidders, obviously, here were successful. Ontario, 7 successful bidders at $175,000. Let's see Mexico, 3 bidders at $171,000. Let's see, Saudi Arabia, looks like 4 at about $36,000, if I'm reading that correctly. So this gives you an idea, once again, of where the equipment is going to go to. A lot of it will stay in state, but a lot of it will get exported out of state, out of country as well. So I just want to make two more points, just kind of adding in here, and then we can open up to questions. I guess number one is site utilization. When Steve was talking about how often our auctions are, 3 to 5 times a year, hopefully we'll get up to the Maryland model of having 5 auctions a year. And we've got this ramp up auction day and then ramp down, which is generally about a month, sometimes 6 weeks or so. And you times that by 4 or 5, you've got a site utilization of about 4 months a year, give or take a little bit. And so one of the things I just want to kind of put out there, we had a good discussion with the Economic Development Commission here at 4 o'clock, and a lot of good questions, and we presented kind of a similar presentation, is that there's numerous opportunities that we offer a community municipality to utilize the site in that downtime, that dormant time. And so it's one thing we've been talking to Joanne. We're kind of elevating our discussions on this whole project. And so I just kind of want to put that out there, that in other communities, 4-H club, for example, volunteer firefighters, the high school football team often utilize our site for different events, arts and crafts fairs, etc. So if and when we do develop, I just kind of want to put that out there, that there's community opportunities, and we also want to be a positive member of the community, and so there's definitely conversations to be had there. The other thing, just real quick, because it may come up as a question, so I'm just going to touch on it, is what we're talking about here is a lease of the property, but we're also looking long-term. So short-term, we want to come in, prove our project, kind of take baby steps on development. But if we're successful, we have an option to purchase this property. So we're not just looking at this as a 5-year lease or a 10-year lease. We're wanting to come in, prove ourselves, prove our business, let Steve and his team build the market, and hopefully we're going to buy the property, develop it with a larger auction building, and call hooks at home for many years to come. So I just want to kind of put that out there just to maybe give some clarity on our approach. So I'd like to go ahead and open it up to any questions anybody might have, and feel free to ask away.
Thank you, gentlemen. Any questions for the Richie Brothers and Company?
Hello, my name's Tom Lazat. I guess the question on traffic, that you guys schedule it so it's at night, or how do you stage it? Looking at the field of equipment, you'd have what, a couple hundred pieces of equipment?
Yeah, and good question. Yeah, often significantly more, somewhere between 500 and 1,500 lots or items. And so our business is a Monday through Friday business. And so we don't have auctions on Saturdays or Sundays, for example, interfering with soccer practice or church. And so it's a Monday through Friday event. And auctions generally start at 9 a.m. and we're usually wrapped up by 5.
Follow up. I assume it's during the day, but I was just wondering about, like, when you're staging equipment and bringing it in. I mean, what do you do? I mean,
yeah, I'll let Steve answer that.
The standard trucking is, say, 7 to 4, 7 to 5. The bigger stuff is restricted by permits. I think in New Hampshire they need to be off the road, or came down between 9 and they're off by 2. So by permits push them into kind of an easy turn. But we're during the day. During the day is a lot easier. Less things get in the way during the day. So, but it seems like a lot, but if you spread it out over 2 or 3 weeks, it's really not that chaotic.
Any other questions? Yes, Susan?
Where exactly is the location we're talking about?
So the location is at the southeast corner. It's what we call the Palazzi property, southeast corner, Hackett Hill Road and Highway 93.
You can,
Correct. It's a 54-acre gross property. The last.
Is that exit 11?
Correct. Mm-hmm. And for the last, just something to note as well, if I could, for the last 50 years, it's been owned and operated by the Palazzi Corporation in our industry, the construction world, and they've hosted 17 auctions in the last 17 or 18 years for other auction companies. So the site's got a past history of auctions as well.